Welcome back to Chapter 10. This is Part 2, a little bit more about variables, and you're going to look at driving a car, which for some of you in your exam will help out a lot. So it's a steerable car. The idea is that you want to create some sort of simulation that makes it look like it's steering, and we're going to press the keys to control moving the car forward or backwards and turning the wheels right or left. So it's really going to look realistic. It's not going to slide around. Now, what's going to happen is as the wheels are turned and as the car is moving forward, of course, that means that the car is going to steer to the right or the left. So like I said, it'll look straightforward. Okay, probably this is pretty intuitive. There's some method called right, which will turn the front wheels right, and left, which will turn them left. And it'll go forward, and it'll move them forward and rotates the wheels forward, even if the wheels are turned, and so forth and so on. But here's the problem. Left turns the wheels left, but forward rotates the wheels forward while the entire car is moving forward. And if you think about it, they could easily become disconnected, right? In fact, it's going to look like the car has broken an axle because they're going forward while turning left, and they can get totally disassembled from each other. So you want to be pretty careful about that. So here's the solution. We need to coordinate the left-right turning action with the forward or backward movement. But to coordinate the actions, we have to somehow remember how far the wheels have been turned to the right or left. And that means we need to know the state of the front wheels of the car object. Now, you may remember from the last video, we talked about the state being in the properties, and that is something that you can track and change. So what we're going to do is we are going to use a scale where the positive values indicate how much to the right it has gone and negative values how much to the left. And more important, more interesting, we're going to create a variable named direction. We're going to start with direction at 0. That means the wheels are going straight ahead. And we're going to use the right arrow to increase direction, in other words, to make that number closer and closer to 10, and the left arrow to decrease it closer and closer to negative 10. So we've talked about creating a new variable before, and we're going to call it direction. It's going to be a number. It's going to start out at 0. That's useful. Other than that, it's pretty straightforward. So here's the revised plan. When you go right, you're going to increment direction. You're just going to make it change by, let's say, 1. And same thing with the left arrow. And the up arrow, it's going to go forward, and the car will move forward, and the car will move right or left based on how much the wheels are turned. And same thing with backwards. Interestingly, right and left don't turn the wheels themselves. Okay, they're just going to change the variable, and this is where the wheels get changed. So let me show you what this looks like. Okay, first let me just play it for you. So I'm going to hit play. I'm going to move this over because I want you to watch something. I want you to watch this variable direction. You can't see me playing with the arrows, obviously, but I want you to take a look as I tell you what I'm doing. So right now I'm going to hit that right arrow 3 times. 1, 2, 3. You see how direction changed? Now what I'm going to do is have the car go forward. And you're noticing that it's turning just a little bit because I made the wheels go to the right. Yes, I know I'm not on the road. Get over it. Okay, now I'm going to turn the wheels to the left and watch what happens right here to the variable direction. I'm going to hit the left key 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now I'm going to hit forward, and you'll see that it's going to the left. I'm going to go backwards in a second. Okay, here we go. I'm going to go backwards, and you can see what happens. So the wheels themselves didn't turn that much. I'm going to hit the right arrow. No, I'll hit the left arrow a whole bunch of times. Let's see if the wheels do anything. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You don't see them actually moving, so that's a little bit unrealistic. But the car is going to move appropriately. So this is pretty far over, right? It's almost at negative 10. Now I'm going to hit the forward button and watch how much the car goes. So they decided when the programming not to actually have the wheels change. That would be interesting if you could make that work out. But they do have the car moving appropriately. Okay, so let's look at the code. It's just like it was in the storyboard. Oops, the method forward. Come on, you can do it. Oh, here it is. Moves forward, and it turns right. The Corvette direction times 2 divided by 360. Think about what that means. The Corvette direction times 2 divided by 360. I'm going to open up all these other ones too. Back up, same thing. Right, okay, that's the increment the direction, and the left increment or decrement the direction. Think about why you want it to be bigger than negative 10. What if it got to negative 10? Well, what that does, of course, is sets limits on it, right? So this is saying as long as the Corvette direction, this variable, is bigger than negative 10, then you can keep going down by 1, but it's not going to go any more or any lower than negative 10. Don't believe me? Let me try it. So I'm going to hit play. Let's look at the, oops, sorry. I want to watch the properties button again. I want to watch the direction. It started over again, so I'm going to go and I'm going to hit the right arrow 11 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Nope, I keep hitting the right arrow. You'll have to trust me on this. And it's not changing anymore. And that's actually good because watch what happens. If I hit forward, look how much that is. That's plenty. Okay, so let's go back to this forward part, this 2 divided by 360. Well, think about what 360 means to you and think about what the 2 is. If I take any number and I divide it by 360, what is that? Pause for 15 seconds and think it to yourself. Okay, so welcome back. Why do we think that it is divided by 360? Hopefully you figured out by now that that represents degrees. And by 2, well, they said let's have every time you change the direction by plus or minus 1, you're actually changing it by plus or minus 2 degrees. That's pretty reasonable. That means it's going to have a range of, let's say, negative 20 degrees and positive 20 degrees, which is really fine. You don't want it to be changing much more than that. That would look weird, and your card just doesn't act that way. I will put this program on Haiku under demos under Chapter 10 so you can play, but meanwhile, let's finish the PowerPoint. Okay, so you saw that a variable can be used to track the state of an object. So if I had it all the way pinned at 10 or negative 10, and then I hit forward, it was going to change pretty dramatically as far as turning. But it was kind of fun to watch it, I thought, so that you could track what was going on. We talked about the increment part. You know how to do that. If not, ask me, but I've done it in other videos. What's up with the if statement? Well, we talked about that, right? That limits it so I can't get any higher than 10 and I can't get any less than negative 10. And just as the PowerPoint said and I said, the real cars have limits as well. Same thing with the if is negative 10. That's going to you need literally some limits. Okay, we talked about the 360. We talked about if the value of the direction is less than 0. So you should know the answers to all that. And this is kind of interesting. The difference between this method and forward. Let's go, I wonder if I go back. There we go. There's forward. Okay, get a good look at that. There's backward. It's really the same. Both of them, though, you'll notice, are using the right. Why does it matter if they use right or left? Well, the answer is it doesn't matter. It's fine if they're used as right in both of them because you're just setting the wheels. And that is actually pretty real life. So whether you're going right plus 10 or left negative 10 or vice versa, you can just set the direction to be plus 10 and minus 10 and it's going to turn it accordingly. And that's it. Pretty quick video. Now go work on your project. Have a good night.